隐藏式字幕以普通话提供。
한국어 자막 안내입니다.
Thank you for choosing Newt, the compact IP, SDI, and HDMI signal converter by Ross Video. This video is part of a series of tutorial videos which walk a user through the initial device setup all the way through to making connections between network streams and HDMI or SDI interfaces. Connecting your Newt. This installment covers some basic IP network setups in which your Newt can be used. We also show how to physically connect the Newt to other devices in your network and set up the management Ethernet interface so that you can communicate with your Newt. When you have completed the steps in this video, your Newt will be updated with the latest firmware and accessible through the ROS dashboard. This tutorial covers two network configurations. The first includes a Newt within a larger network with a third-party SMPTE ST2110 source. The ST2110 source receives a video stream from a device such as a camera and encapsulates the video stream to be sent across the network. The Newt and the ST2110 sender are connected via an Ethernet switch, while a separate PTP Grandmaster, which is also attached to the switch, provides PTP timing to the network. The Newt receives network streams from the switch and decapsulates them into SDI or HDMI data streams that are then output to a monitor. The other network configuration covered by this video includes two Newts connected point-to-point. This setup is useful for experimenting and demonstrating Newt functionality in an isolated environment with fewer moving parts. One Newt is configured in bidirectional mode and acts as a sender, while the other is configured as an SDI or HDMI receiver. One Newt acts as a PTP master, while the other acts as a PTP slave. The next topic is the Newt hardware interfaces. The top view of the Newt has labels for all the interfaces. On one end of the Newt, we have the media interfaces, the four SDI BNC connectors, and the HDMI 2.0 interface. This end of the Newt also has the power connector. You must ensure that your power supply is tightened down very well in order to guarantee good contact. The HDMI SDI dip switch can control the operating mode of Newt. The operating mode refers to whether the Newt is acting in SDI mode or HDMI mode. However, we recommend that this operating mode is specified through the dashboard and the user should not need to use this dip switch. The other end of the Newt has the Ethernet interfaces. There are two SFP cages for the 10 GigE media interfaces. There is also the RJ45 connector for the management interface. A status LED shows whether the Newt is functioning correctly. It will show green if the Newt is booted properly. There is also a micro SD card. The Newt is shipped with the SD card and there should not be a need to remove it. Dashboard is a free and open platform from Ross Video for the control and monitoring of hundreds of products within the OpenGear and Dashboard Connect ecosystem, including your Newt. To connect to the Newt, you must have Dashboard installed on your computer. You can download it from www.rossvideo.com/dashboard. Follow the instructions on the download page for your OS to install Dashboard. Newt is compatible with Dashboard version 8.4.0 or higher. Every Newt will ship with a default management interface IP static address of 192.168.0.100 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0.
Walkabout allows you to adjust the IP configuration of your Newt even when your Newt is not yet correctly configured for your network. For Walkabout to work, plug your Newt into the same subnet as your computer that is running Dashboard. To use Walkabout, open the File menu of Dashboard. Then, click the Show Walkabout item to open the Walkabout tab. Click the Refresh button in the Walkabout tab to see any updates. You may see a warning from your firewall the first time you open Walkabout. If so, allow Dashboard to work on all networks. You should now see any Walkabout compatible products on your network listed in the Walkabout tab. With some PCs, you may need to configure Dashboard to use a specific Ethernet port instead of the default setting of using all network interfaces. To make this configuration, first select the Dashboard Menu menu, then the Preferences menu. Under the Automatic Discover section, select to search for devices using the Selected Network Interfaces option, then select the interface that is connected to the same network as your Newt. You may also need to turn off the Wi-Fi on your PC to ensure it uses the wired link. If your Newt still does not appear in Walkabout, please view the troubleshooting video for more details. The 3 different Ethernet ports of the Newt will appear as separate rows in the Walkabout tab. The brackets in the device column indicate which row is for which Ethernet port, those ports being the control, Net1, and Net2 ports. The asterisk indicates the port currently being used to access your Newt. To make the columns wider to ensure all information is shown, adjust the sides of the headers. To better identify your Newt, rename it to something more specific. Click on one of the rows under the name column to change its name. In this tutorial, we will name the Newt Tutorial Newt. Since all 3 ports are connected to the same Newt, changing the name in one port will automatically change it in all 3. Now you can set the IP address and mask as needed to continue with your configuration. For DHCP mode, change the IP address of the control port to 0.0.0.0. You can now also configure the net interfaces or worry about that later. As soon as any new values are entered, such as a new IP address, the device field will indicate that you will need to reboot the Newt for the changes to take effect. Before rebooting, configure all the fields you need. Then, click the reboot button and wait a minute or 2 while the Newt reboots. The word rebooting will appear in the device column during this process. After the Newt is done, the word rebooting will disappear. You may need to click the refresh button to show the updated status of the Newt after the reboot. With your Newt's IP address now configured to match the same subnet as your PC, your Newt should appear in the dashboard device tree list with the name you gave it. If it does not appear automatically, click the refresh button above the device tree and dashboard to update the list of devices, or ensure that the dashboard preferences are set to enable automatic discovery of devices. To make this preference change, first select the dashboard window menu, then the Preferences menu. Under Automatic Discovery, select to enable automatic discovery of devices. If your Newt still does not appear, please view the troubleshooting video. Once your Newt has appeared, open the control page for your Newt in Dashboard by expanding the Newt tree, then double-clicking on Newt. If the tree cannot be expanded, or clicking on it shows the Web UI page, this means that the proper dashboard experience is not yet working. Please view the troubleshooting video. After successfully opening your Newt's control page, you should now see a welcome page with some general information. This is the Welcome tab. Once you can see the Newt Welcome tab, you are ready to proceed to the next video tutorial called Using the Newt Setup Wizard to learn more about the initial configuration of your device to get it ready for streaming real audio traffic on your network. Thank you for watching and for choosing Ross Video.